Ladies, gentlemen, and all of our fair listeners out there around the world, welcome to another fantastic episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty. Top of the episode here, just a little bit of news for everyone that listens. Tyler's recently started a new job and his schedule's gotten a little bit busier, so he's not going to be around on every episode like we had previous, but he is still going to be around for some of the bigger episodes as well as guesting on the Worm Talk episodes. So if you're missing out on your dosage of Tyler in your life, you got to make sure that you get onto that Patreon so you can enjoy the fantastic Worm Talk shows that we are getting scheduled and getting ready for all of you wonderful people. Now, with that said, Easy, how you doing this week? What are we talking about tonight?
Doing pretty good. Just a quick the cost will rise again, brothers. That's for you, Tyler. That's specifically for you. Gotta get that shout out.
The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of the costs.
Deep in the heart of the costs. Just look at that flag. Anyway. That being said, we're definitely not doing that as a topic for this evening. I'm sorry to disappoint all of our cost listeners out there. I'm sure you're excited for the one day that we do get back to North America and talk about the different shakedowns of everything that's going on here. But tonight's episode, we're going to look at a little bit of the darker side of the Matrix. So get on your robe, find your lantern, and let's take a dive to the deep recesses of the Matrix. In the sixth world, it's called the Foundation, but colloquially?
Yep.
Yeah, I can talk.
Yep.
We would refer to it as the dark web.
The dark web.
Silk Road. Peer-to-peer sharing.
All of the other stuff that's on the dark web. I don't know.
I mean, supposedly you could, buy hitmen and stuff like that. Literally anything is for sale.
Yeah, I think just
all of the cryptocurrency as well. I'm pretty sure there is even a spot for NFTs.
It's literally the only place that cryptocurrency actually makes sense to me as like a foundation of currency. Like, of course you do crypto on the dark web, on the dark web. Like that makes the most sense because there's no way to track it. It's safe. And it's established by the people that use it, which are all people that would use the dark web.
I feel like that's originally where it came from anyway.
And I want to say you're right. I want to say that tracks, but yeah, you know what? Let's keep it there. Am I right, guys?
Let's just say that's true. How about that?
Buy your 6 pounds of heroin using Dogecoin and get a 10% discount.
10% extra. What?
Yeah.
Where do I sign up?
What do you mean I get a 20% discount on this Hitman if I use Ethereum? All right. Finally, my time has come.
Oh, he's just trying to corner the market, really.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think he has. I think that market is pretty well cornered.
Is this where I go to hire my Shadowrunners, guys? Anybody? Hello?
That's actually an excellent question. Is the Foundation where Shadowrunners would congregate normally in the sixth world, or is it more of the open matrix? They're easier to find on their type of situation.
So in Matrix 1.0, basically Shadowrun deckers and the like would congregate around specific nodes and message boards called Shadowlands, and these were usually protected and like protected servers for where deckers could share information or do data dumps or negotiate sales of pay data, things like that.
That makes a lot more sense now, given the last episode of Sinless that we just recorded. So
Might be a little bit helpful for context.
now it makes more sense. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Usually to get into Shadowlands, you had one of two options. You either had to be invited into Shadowlands or you had to hack your way into Shadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hacked your way in, you were considered pretty good with your skills. If you
I
were
like to
invited in,
I like to imagine that if you hacked your way in, there's just like a person waiting. That's just like they're just a round of applauses. Like when like when you get onto the board, they're like, "Hey, look, you made it!
I
Yay!"
mean, you're not
Champagne
far
emoji,
off.
champagne emoji.
Exactly. Some deckers would just sit there and wait and like watch you stumble your way through into trying to get into the Shadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
But in Matrix 2.0, where everything gets shaken up with virtual reality and augmented reality and everything like that, and everything switches kind of sort of to personas, and now you have grid controlled access and everything. The
Mm-hmm.
foundation is now underneath that, right? So
Ah,
it's like what they used to build Matrix 2.0. So now your hidden data havens and networks are in the foundation, and people are supposed to do deep dives into the foundation to find lost data or hidden things or stuff like that. So you could have moved the Shadowlands there.
uh-huh.
I don't know if they officially did or not.
So the Shadowlands is like 4chan, and the
Oh, geez.
foundation is like the dark web, is what you're telling me.
I mean, that's a hell of an analogy right there.
It's not an incorrect comparison, but it's an upsetting one, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fair. So, okay, so the foundation exists. It, a weird phrase to say, given like the way that we conceptualize the internet, but the foundation is literally the bottom of the internet. Like that is underneath everything else that a normal person in the Matrix would see. It's buried deeper in
Right.
to the Matrix itself.
Yes. So
Okay.
you're not going to see it normally. Uh, like
Right.
you have to make your way there. Just like with the dark web, you don't see
Yeah.
it every day. It's
Yeah, that's
there. It's
it's not your
there.
homepage, you know. It's not
Well, yeah, it's never your homepage.
yeah.
It's there. There are ways for you to get there. I don't necessarily recommend that you try doing it unless you're super ready to experience some
Nope.
crazy
Nope.
stuff.
Nope. Not even that easy. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this one for you. We advise that nobody goes on the dark web ever for any reason at any point, and are no way responsible for anybody accessing or trying to get onto the dark web. Don't do it.
Even for
Just
pure
don't.
curiosity
Not
purposes.
even once.
Not even once.
Not even once. Consider it to be the heroine of the internet. Not even once. Not worth it.
Not even one time.
Not even once.
But yes,
Okay.
yeah, fundamentally speaking, your analogy is correct.
So then was the foundation itself established post Crash 2.0 when they rebuilt everything for the Matrix? Or was the foundation already a thing prior to the crash?
It was the bones of what was left.
So we had Matrix, the initial Matrix happened, right? We had the normal Matrix. The foundation was literally like the framework of what was built of what the Matrix was built off of. And then Crash 2.0 happens. We have the new Matrix that's built upon the remains of Matrix 1, quote unquote, if you will. And
Mhm.
so the Matrix, the remnants of Matrix 1 are what make up the foundation.
uh, Very loosely.
Okay.
Like it's very hard to explain what it actually is, especially in trying to think of something concrete, because the
Right.
Matrix is extremely abstract in its concept.
Right, but I'm just at 5 yard view on this
Right,
on the
right.
situation. That is more or less what
Yes,
we would what how we would rationalize the foundation and and its relationship to the Matrix.
right.
Cool. Okay.
So now that we have that kind of initial idea set
Hmm.
and established out of the way, who are the Null sect?
Excellent question.
Well, I have an excellent answer. The Null sect are actually a type of sentient matrix entity that have literally risen from the machine code interface of the matrix.
So they're that big face AI at the end of the third Matrix movie that talks to Neo. That is the null sect.
No, because that's human created AI. This is pure
Oh,
data AI.
this is AI created AI.
This is the ghost in the shell type stuff
Oh, I see.
where it forms from the data itself,
Right.
which is weird to think about.
It is data created consciousness.
Yes.
That's nutty.
Yeah, it's said that though they are not born quotations out of any already existing program or programmed by metahumans, they are mechanically similar to AI agents or ICE programs
Mm.
in the sense that they are essentially a type of computer program running in the matrix.
Hmm.
It's just they have achieved a level of sentience.
I see. Interesting. So it's basically all of the control AI programs gaining their own sentience.
Out of sheer data.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's not great.
No, it's not.
That sounds pretty
Because
terrifying.
well, it gets worse.
Sick. Doesn't it always?
Well, yes, it's the sixth world, of course. There has to be something terrible hiding behind everything.
Sometimes not even hiding.
Sometimes not even hiding, sometimes overt. So, because the nulls are a part of the machine code of the matrix, they were not created with the ability to interact with basic metahuman matrix users. They are unable to communicate using any form of language other than computer languages,
Mm-hmm.
which means they cannot communicate outside of the matrix. They have no voice.
Mm.
Inside the matrix, they
Mm-hmm.
can make their language understandable to anyone using VR or AR, which will
I
then
mean,
instant
but
translate into any known language. That's why,
oh, I see. Because
because the heads
using
up,
the
mhm,
headsets will automatically.
yeah,
Okay, but
whether you're dived in or you're on augmented reality, it'll auto translate it into a known language.
follow-up question then.
Hmm.
Is there a way to access the Matrix outside of VR and AR? Or I guess because I
Only
get
if
like
you're a technomancer.
okay, so technomancers because technomancers exist like within the Matrix at all times, right? Like
Yeah, they're like they're like the ghouls
they're like the
where
ghouls of the Matrix. Yeah.
yes.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, and then I was like, I don't know if that would be a one to one. But no, yeah, okay, cool. So
No, to me they're the ghouls of the Matrix. I'll agree with that.
thick. Okay, cool. So with that being said, then so basically they can communicate with anybody that's in the Matrix. Then they just
Yes,
can't communicate outside of the Matrix.
correct.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But since the Matrix and augmented reality becomes so pervasive in everybody's day-to-day life, it's almost like they can just communicate with anybody whenever they wanted to anyway.
Right. Yeah.
They do use their words carefully because, of course, they're an AI, but they only communicate when they find it appropriate and useful.
Uh, yeah. I mean, listen, we've all been on the internet. I usually only communicate with people on the internet when I find it to be useful. So I get that. I totally get that.
So while their passive and seemingly servile nature make them seem benign, the Nulls are quietly carrying out their own agenda. They
Hmm.
view non emerged humans as the intended users of the Matrix and themselves as the inheritors of the long legacy of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
To the Null sect, anything outside of this paradigm is an aberration that must be removed at all costs. This means that all AI and technomancers are marked for elimination by the Null sect. And it's something that they carry out with great glee.
Interesting.
The reasoning for their hatred of artificial intelligence and the emerged stems from two separate ideas. AI do not belong because they are a lingering malfunction caused by anomalies in metahuman user interfaces. And the emerged, which are basically technomancers, do not belong because they are inherently alien. They are an inherently alien element within the Matrix.
Because of how Technomancer's existence is inside and outside at the same time, like what we were
Yes.
just talking about. Okay.
Yes. To the Nulls, AI are simply tools that were never meant to possess sapience, and thus they should not be allowed to keep it. The emerged,
Interesting.
the emerged, on the other hand, are foreign interlopers whose barbaric code has brought nothing but chaos to the Matrix since their arrival.
I mean, they're not wrong.
That's true. Both groups have been responsible for crashing the Matrix in the past, and the Null sect believe it is their intended purpose to permanently rid the Matrix of these destabilizing elements. So now it makes more sense how they've risen out of existing code like ICE programs or agents that are set up to patrol for illegal activity on the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the Null sect have zeroed in on both AIs and technomancers as the problem.
I find it interesting that they determined that AI are one of the problems, considering that that's like the basis of their creation. It,
Yes, but they see that AI as
inferior.
inferior because
Uh
they stem from metahuman error.
right. They were created by man, therefore inherently flawed, whereas the null sect was created by AI,
Mm-hmm.
there go
Or
flawless.
arose from.
Right. From the data and
Mm-hmm.
not from creativity.
Yes.
Therefore they are perfected. I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes more sense. Oh, so the null sector bad. This is what you're telling me.
If you didn't get that from the beginning of
Hang
the
on,
conversation.
let me just clarify real quick. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Bad guys? Null sect is bad guys?
So I guess it depends on where you come down on the side of the argument.
Okay.
They can be the bad guys
But
because, well, they can be the bad
okay.
guys because
Uh-huh.
they're obviously targeting people for elimination, like technomancers, and they view all AI as abominations that need to be removed as well. So the poor individuals that inadvertently got infected with CFD, does that make them targets? Where does the line happen?
Yeah. That I mean, where's the line is a thing when it comes to determining the inferiority of a lot of things. Especially when you're a sentience generated from sentience, created by man. So who
The other problem
knows?
with that is that you have to think if they arose from the data, they're entirely logic driven.
Hmm.
They would have to be, right?
Oh, they're like super Vulcans.
Yes, which makes it even worse.
Which makes them even more insufferable.
Well, you would think so, but apparently they do have a social structure.
Oh, that is interesting, actually. I kind of
So,
just assumed that we were dealing with like hive mind scenario here.
uh, kind of.
Okay.
So, as beings created to function within the machine code of the Matrix, they are completely alien in their social structures, and any attempt to compare it to a metahuman analog is impossible.
But we're gonna do it anyway,
We're gonna
right?
try. We're gonna try.
All right.
So they possess no understanding of the world beyond the matrix, including physical and astral planes. Obviously, they don't understand magic or the
Mm,
soul or the spirit because
mm,
they're born and live in the
the
matrix
Matrix. Yeah.
completely. And also, that leaves them with no idea of what the physical world is actually like because they're left in the world of limitless bounds.
Hmm. Okay.
Up, down, left, right, doesn't
Yeah.
really have any sort of meaning to them because they're on this complete open field that stretches and encompasses the entire world.
Right.
So their society could best be described as a hive mind, though their complete lack of physiological needs ensures that this comparison only goes so far. The only thing that is really known is that they have a very strict hierarchy that consists of two major parts. You have overseers and ice.
Hmm.
So, for the most part, null ice are nearly identical in form and function to standard ice. So, the standard defense programs that you would encounter when trying to hack into a system are what could be a null ice, and you would just never know it.
Oh, so they exist within like all aspects of the Matrix then? They're not just restricted
They
to.
can technically go anywhere in the
Right.
matrix. It's just they hide deep in the foundation originally.
I see. So whenever you encounter an ice in the Matrix, it's a 50-50.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
This includes blind the ice. This includes blindly following orders, um, and being completely incapable of individual thought or emotion because
Mm,
it's just a program, right?
right. Yeah.
Then you have the overseers. The overseers are the intelligent leaders of the null sect.
Hmm. They are the mind of the hive mind, if you
Right.
will.
It says that overseers are mechanically identical to xenosapient AI.
What does that mean?
So
As in, like, they have like a constructed form? Sapient.
it goes into okay. So a xenosapient AI
Hmm.
is basically a reference in the game, right,
Hmm.
to creating a character played artificial intelligence. An a an
Interesting.
AI character cannot be created using the basic life module building system that's presented in the rules for the Shadowrun game, right?
Yeah.
So what they did is they came up with a way to build an AI
Mm,
to be played as a playable character, and they refer to these as proto or xenosapient AIs.
interesting. Okay.
So, in regards to the null sect, with the overseers being xenosapient, they basically would be in, highly intelligent
I get you. Okay.
because you would assume that they're being, in game terms, they're played by a player,
Right.
right? So, in the six world terms, they have the same operating level of intelligence as a sapient um, thinking
As
individual.
as a runner would have, or something of the, yeah,
Well,
as a
a
as a player.
person,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
a person.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then. That's a really interesting term for that. I don't think, I mean, I'm assuming that that's probably a term that was created specifically for Shadowrun, but
Possibly.
that's one that we haven't come across before, so it's very, very interesting.
There are a couple of exceptions for overseers.
Oh, okay.
First, overseers are part of a host and do
Mm.
not need the emulate action.
Do not need to emulate. What is?
So, one of the things that xenosapient AIs can do is they can emulate, which will
Mhm.
make them seem like a program as
Mm,
opposed to revealing what they actually are.
I see. So they can pretend to be AI instead of being conscious,
Well,
basically. Well,
so what it is the AI performs a matrix action using grid or host power to emulate essential hardware. The AI chooses what it's trying to do in the matrix to perform and um, then emulates that action.
I see. It's camouflage.
Yeah, it's kind of camouflage, but it also allows them to, since they don't need a cyber deck, they're
Hmm.
in the matrix.
Right, yeah.
They use this ability, this emulate ability, to kind of just do what deckers do with a cyber deck. It's just they don't need the cyber deck. Does that make sense? They're emulating the
Yes.
program action.
Yes. So they take it they as a consciousness would actively be camouflaging quote unquote themselves by passing themselves off as a simple AI system, even though they're
Right.
not.
So that's what xenosapient AIs need to do.
Right.
The overseers don't.
Ah, I see.
That's what makes them more unique. They don't need to emulate to perform matrix actions without a device.
Okay, gotcha.
This will allow the overseer to perform all node actions for its home host from anywhere in the matrix.
So whereas like a decker would need to be at a connection point to be able to do
Right.
certain things, they can just do anything from anywhere, basically.
Yes. Obviously, the further away it is, it's more difficult, just like in the matrix in
Right,
general.
right. But they don't
So
lose
they're still
access
limited by distance, but they don't lose access to any other
to
ability.
any of their abilities or effects or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of terrifying.
So the Null sect have several unique abilities that they use to carry out their agenda.
Hmm.
These abilities include host infection. The Null sect can infect a host with their own control override software. This software, once installed in the master control node of a foundation, gives the null complete control over all standard functions of the host and the ability to deploy any unique types of ice. It takes them a number of weeks, usually, to install the software, depending on how difficult the host is.
Hmm.
And the null requires the software to be loaded before they can leave the foundation.
Mm, okay.
And it then binds them to the host. They then have sustaining hosts. Null overseers and ice are capable of leaving their hosts to carry out operations or pursue fleeing intruders. Overseers are able to go anywhere in the matrix for an unlimited amount of time. They are their own attributes, or they use their own attributes and skills. They don't need programs. Again, it's like living in the matrix, being a person.
Right. Hmm.
And then that also doesn't limit them to using the host rating for anything. They can just do it themselves. They don't have to rely on the host and how strong the host is. And obviously, null ice can only leave for a certain amount of time
Hmm.
because they're not as uh, They're like the drones in the hive mind
Hmm.
sort of analogy. The overseers can go out, do whatever for as long as they want, but the any null ice that they have under their control can only go so far.
Okay.
So you can outrun the null ice if it spots you or you run into it, but then you technically can't outrun the overseer as it could just follow you wherever you go.
Yeah, and couldn't it also hypothetically attach itself to you as well?
um yes, depending on where you are.
That's not great.
Yeah, like it could get into your host system technically
Hmm.
and try and
Hmm.
infect it. Yeah, that's what makes them so dangerous, is that you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, that's pretty brute, man. Yeah, I don't like that. I did appreciate that when we did the last episode of Sinless, we were talking about like looking up all of the stuff online and like constantly referring back to like Applejacks and like the Decker
Mhm.
characters that we have, and you were like, you could go on the Matrix if you want to, but everything that I've learned in this podcast, I never want to go on the Matrix. The Matrix sounds like a nightmare place all the time, and like, yeah, I don't know, man.
It sounds like a nightmare place because we're specifically looking at some of the scary things that haunt and lurk in the Matrix. That's not to say that they don't exist today for us in the deep web, and we just never see them because we don't necessarily interact. But our host systems can technically still be infected by things like malware and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, there's
It's just
ransomware and stuff like that as well that does exist, but
we've learned to kind of look for it, and that will be the same case for the null sect eventually when it becomes more prevalent and matrix users are more
aware.
yeah, I'd say aware or apt to run
Yeah,
into them. Right now in the
yeah.
sixth world, they're still just in hiding.
Right. I I think the thing that scares me more about the way that the Matrix is presented in the Sixth World is
Mm-hmm.
that because it's like an integration thing rather than just being like a computer browser, you know? Like
Yes,
that
because it's
that's the part of it that makes the Matrix seem way more intimidating to me, is the fact that it's like a dive program thing, and I'm just like,
yeah.
that there's so many terrible, terrible things that could go wrong at any given
Well,
time.
especially think of how pervasive it gets by 2080, where you have augmented reality and the wireless matrix now, so
Right,
it's with you all the time everywhere.
right.
And with augmented reality, and that kind of gets into another thing that, here we go, relating sixth world to real life because it's happening. This I think definitely steps into the realm of Apple's recently new released idea,
Oh yeah.
the Apple Vision,
Mhm.
where
We're getting closer.
they're effectively trying to marry virtual reality to augmented reality to our reality.
Yeah,
They're
and
trying to get the
also to a
overlay perfect.
browser-based network system as well, so you
Yes.
have something more to do rather than just viewed reality type of thing. Because like
Yes.
that was always the biggest issue with like Google Glass and that type of AR implementation stuff, is it's like they could never really get multi-function working at the same time, to where it would be like, well, you're looking through it, but like, and it's either running a program with you looking through it, or you have something up and you're viewing that through the realm, but it was never integrated fully to where it's doing all of that at the same time.
And that's
But
what Apple Vision is trying to do.
that's what they want to do. Yeah, for sure.
And that, of course, inherently people are going to be like, "Oh, wow, that's awesome. It'll make my life easier and I'll have more to get away from, I'll be able to step into this other world. It could be like Ready Player One, et cetera, et cetera." You don't think about the dark side of it though.
No, never.
That's the other problem. Like you you're going to jump on this bandwagon again for this is my soapbox moment. I'm sorry, everybody. You're
Okay.
going to jump on this bandwagon again for a company that actively hoards your data,
Hmm.
and you're going to jump into a virtual reality and augmented reality, which is just going to further allow them to narrow down what it is that you like to look at, how long you
Yeah.
like to look at it, and
Yep.
how they can then specifically tailor their targeted ads to come up. And you think that YouTube is bad now, where you have to sit through like a 15-second ad before you get to watch the thing you want to watch. Well, imagine that coming up into your face all the time.
Well, and not only that, but as well, also integrated into an ecosystem that only consists of other people that are in the same boat as you. Like,
Yeah.
there's no diversity within the ecosystem. It's all gonna just be Apple adopters, like that
Mm-hmm.
is, and from Apple's standpoint, that's exactly what they want because it's only going to be their diehard devotes that are going to get it in the first place. So it's going to look and review really nicely because it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be all the people that want it, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be a realistic like expectation of integrated reality with the virtual space because that has to be a free market system.
Well,
Like that has to
not
be an open market system, I should
not
say.
yet, I'll say. Wait
Mm.
until the competitor comes out, which will be I
It's
hate
gonna
to
be
say it.
Google. It's gonna be
It's
Google.
well, it's either going to be Google or it's going to be Metaverse.
It's gonna be Google, dude. I'm pretty sure Metaverse is dead in the water at this point, and
I'm just saying.
I think Zucks just can't admit it publicly, but like I've heard
He wants that VR world real bad, man. I think he's willing to bankrupt himself to be able to try to get it.
he's working on that because last I heard, like 40% of developers have already left Metaverse development and have moved on to
Mm-hmm.
different projects. So like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's only in-house development at Meta at this point that's
Right.
still actively working on things for the metaverse. And again, like the analogy you were just saying, imagine logging into a Facebook regulated virtual reality that only contains Facebook owned property and media.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds like a nightmare, dude.
It does, but Apple is at least being smart about it, because did you see that they did partner up with Disney, and Disney will have a platform on Apple Vision?
No, but that is a very smart thing for them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a very good way to
I
do it.
imagine that it won't be long, especially if it gets these rave reviews, like you were saying, from the
Hmm.
in-house Apple echo chamber first.
Right.
And once it gets those great reviews, then companies like Disney are going to then be like, oh, well, people like this, so let's
Well,
go ahead and dump a bunch of stuff into it to make it available for people. And
the
then they're going to do that. It's just going to get so pervasive and
the
so
flip side
invasive.
the flip side of that coin though is that it's also going to resonate out to the other companies that are going to look at that and go, well, that did good for Apple. We should make our own version of that to varying degrees of better and mostly probably worse versions of this product
Yeah,
that we're gonna
exactly.
see. I mean, like
Give
where
it
it
give it
if
10
the
years though, and I guarantee you, in 10 years, in 10 years time, I will go ahead and say 70% of the people will have switched over to an augmented life.
I will be part of that 30. I can tell you in 10 years, I will be part of that 30 comfortably.
I really I don't want to. I
Uh-huh.
love my technology and everything, but
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that's it's getting a step too far, man.
It's a slippery slope, man.
Get out and touch some grass. Come on.
I'm saying, dude, like, I don't know, man. Yeah.
We're getting further and further. It's just creating, again, sorry, I'm soapboxing
No, that's,
on this so much, but it's true. We're getting more and more difficult to please, and it's becoming
mm-hmm.
more and more of that quick hit every single time,
Yeah, you need the dopamine drop
Yeah, you
instead
need that
of,
drop, and with augmented reality, you're going to get it in spades
yeah.
because
Well,
you've never had it before.
the thing that I'm also concerned about with that type of situation, though, and like this is more of a personal thing for me, but like I'm I know a lot of my personal friends that I've had conversations with that have all talked about like struggling with being able to reconnect with people on a social level post COVID.
Hmm.
And like imagine that on a global scale
Yeah.
where everybody can just be like logged in like oh my god, dude, like imagine you're just like walking down the street and you look at a building and in your field of vision is just immediately flooded with like Google reviews of the business and like
Uh-huh.
Twitter comment
Yelp,
feeds about the
everything.
Yelp,
Yeah.
and it's just that sounds like a nightmare, dude. That's a
Yeah, and it's
nightmare
what it's going to
existence.
be too.
Ugh.
You know what another great example of this would be?
Mm,
And this is, tangentially Sixth World related.
hmm hmm
The movie Surrogates.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
basically. Yeah.
that's what you're gonna end up with.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate final step at this point is that we're
Yeah.
just gonna be humans in pods controlling AI bots to
Yep.
live our lives for us. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't see. I don't
What is
like it,
that?
man.
What is that,
I
man?
don't like at that point. We're literally just the Matrix,
Oh God.
except we're not contributing in any way. Like at least in the Matrix, they're batteries that contribute to the greater, hive mind of the AI consciousness and keep it
Mm-hmm.
supplied with energy. But at that point, we're like just it's so gross. I hate it. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, and I don't like it.
So
I
so
don't
maybe
want it.
so maybe the null sect has a point,
You
That's
know
all I'm
what?
saying.
Maybe the null sect is right. Not everything is bad in the sixth world. uh,
Oh my God.
hashtag null sect did nothing wrong.
The hashtag null sect did nothing wrong. Well,
um,
let's get into what else they can do.
okay, and
Uh
then do also just as a question for
mm,
the future here, do we have examples of things that they have done? Like, have they made their presence known or really done anything to affect the sixth world, or do they kind of just exist as an entity still at this point?
so they exist as an entity, and you're not going to run into them very often as deckers. You might accidentally come across them.
Mm,
Because they're specifically targeting AIs and technomancers. If you're a
right,
technomancer, you definitely feel like you're being dogged or hunted by something
at all times.
in the
Like,
resonance. Yeah, basically.
that is a terrifying concept, actually. That's because, yeah, like, okay, so question on that then, because I believe that we did touch on technomancers, but that
Hmm.
was a while ago, and I can't fully remember. Do they have the ability to turn on and off their connection into the Matrix, or is
No,
it like a ghoul where it's always on?
you're always on.
That's awful.
You're
That sounds
you're
like a
you're
nightmare.
constantly on. You cannot turn it off.
Oh boy. Oh, that's so
Welcome to the
gross.
the true marriage of tech and living.
Yeah, so do all technomancers just live inside like shacks in the middle of the woods as far away from
Those that
connection nodes as possible,
those that
or
don't want to experience the matrix or do anything with their power, yeah, you would live
yeah.
as far out in the sticks as you possibly can
Oh boy.
to be away from as much technology as you possibly can
Yeah,
be.
absolutely. Ugh.
The next thing the null set can do is they can do persona scanning.
Okay.
The nulls can detect when a person is not being directly generated by a matrix device.
So
This ability does not allow them to detect resonance signals directly, but it does allow them to detect AI and resonance beings by noticing irregularities in their device metadata. So basically, everybody in the matrix is represented by an icon or what they call a persona, right?
okay. Mm-hmm.
So that shows you that's you on the matrix, your persona. That's your icon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also represented probably by a fursona, depending on which parts of the matrix you use. But yes, go on.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts me that you said that. But yeah, you're probably right. I mean, you
Hey,
can look like whatever you want in the Matrix. It's the Matrix.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey man, listen, no king shaming on this podcast, all
As
right?
long as it walks, talks, as long as it walks and talks, you can be it on the Matrix.
There you go.
That is
For
specifically in the
fursona to your
guidelines.
heart's contents, guys. That's
live
what
your
I'm saying.
live your best lives.
Live your best life. Yes, exactly.
So the nulls have an ability to scan those personas, and from that scan they'll be able to detect whether you are a user connected to like a cyber deck that's creating the persona, or you're an AI or resonance, a technomancer, and your
Mm-hmm.
persona is there.
So that would be in relation to like if they went into, say you went into like a virtual bar in the Matrix,
Hmm.
and the people, the quote unquote like
Personas.
people working the
Hmm.
bar would probably just be AI programs created by whatever corporation owns that bar that they're running within the Matrix.
Or ICE programs, technically.
Or ICE
Who
programs. Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's
But
however that specific host is detailed to overlay
right.
their
But
icons.
so their ability is that just by looking at them, they can differentiate if it's a person, an AI, or a techno.
Yeah, they do a quick look. Like basically, it's like it's like they're a sensing, like a mage
Mm-hmm.
does. They just look at you and they read your aura, right?
Yeah, because I guess in that case scenario, if like a normal person's just on the Matrix, you
Hmm.
wouldn't necessarily be able to just tell at a glance
No,
if somebody is an AI or if somebody is another user
right.
without actually like talking to them or like trying to figure it out deeper than that. But okay, that's interesting. So that's, I'm assuming, is part of what helps them in their hunt of the technomancers and other AI that they deem
Hmm.
inferior. Do they never, do the null sect never attack humans then? They only ever go, I mean, like outside of technomancers, but like just normal users of the Matrix, they never go after
Well,
them or have any issues, or
so there are some rules about that, about what happens to humans that run into them and kind of discover them.
okay. Do
And
they
I will
do
I will get to that. We'll get to that. I
okay.
promise.
Okay. Okay.
That
Okay.
is part of the thing that we're going to cover. Like what happens if you're just a regular decker and you run into the null sect. That
Gotcha.
we'll get there.
Okay.
The other thing that the nulls can do is they run us the null ice specifically runs three different types of ice. There's the stalker null ice, and the stalker ice is similar to patrol or probe ice, which is patrol ice just kind of goes around and makes sure you're not doing anything illegal.
Yeah,
And
looks for whatever the guidelines are that it's programmed with
right,
and make sure
right.
you're not breaking the rules.
And then the probe ice is there to probe your persona icon every once in a while if you're doing those illegal things to try and get a location on you, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or you're just getting extra information about that specific icon. That's what probing does. Well,
Right.
null stalker ice does both of that,
Mm.
except that it runs silent.
So
Meaning, if you're
you don't
not
even know.
looking for patrol or you're not
Mm.
looking for probe, you'll
Mm-hmm.
never notice it.
Mm. And I'm assuming that that couples in with their ability to look through a persona immediately to
Yeah.
determine what its user type is. Okay, interesting.
They also run another type called Marauder Ice.
Mm-hmm.
This is a combination, again, of Blaster, which is an attack ice, and Black Ice, which is
Yes,
the worst
okay.
kind of ice you can run
It
into.
it is the worst kind of ice. I remember our discussions on the ice. We had the whole tier list and
Yes,
everything.
we did.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Marauder Ice will randomly crash programs it infects. It just
Uh
randomly picks one once it's infected your system and crashes a program.
oh God. So, okay, I then back to another question that loops into like the involvement, direct involvement with the Matrix and its connection and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you're connected into the Matrix, is there any type of like, I guess like a lifeline monitoring system or something for people that are connected into it? Like,
Oh,
because
to
like
notice if something goes wrong?
yeah, like if some like because like say that somebody's in the Matrix and then they just start having like a heart attack. Like, is that just it, or like
I
is
guess you
there
could hook
any
yourself
type
up
of
to.
fail-safe programs or
Oh
anything?
no, no, no.
Okay.
That's the danger of going in and doing
Well,
illegal stuff and everything is you could get hit with biofeedback and it could dump you out of the system. And one of two things happens.
dump shock or
Yeah, you dump shock or you're fried.
yeah, okay.
That's those are your options.
Well, so I guess the reason I was asking is because then that plays back into not being as bad is because I was gonna say like could a Marauder program go in and just like shut down like a life support system for somebody's connection into the Matrix, and then they just immediately die? Like,
I mean, if you're connected into it, technically the Marauder program is there, or the Marauder Ice is there to target programs on your deck
mhm.
and shut them down. And one of those could be your login program, which then hits you with the biofeedback.
So then that okay. But is it targeted as to what the Marauders will usually go for,
No,
or is it just
Marauders are just
random as
random. Marauders just
that's
random.
terrifying. Oh god. So it could hit your login program and dump shock you, or it could just
Mhm.
clear your cache and cookies for you, and now your AR's running faster and you don't know why.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So, I mean, glass half full scenario. It's what I always try to look for in the sixth world. Easy at this point. I always have to look for that glass.
The last piece
Uh,
of null ice that runs is called Sapper. And
mm-hmm.
this is a vicious blend of exploitive code that will lower all of your matrix attributes. So it basically weakens your cyber deck.
Oh, so it
And
makes you more susceptible to other
to
like
provative
bad
code
stuff
and everything like that. Yeah.
within
And
the Matrix.
and
Okay.
the reduction is cumulative. So every time it hits you, it makes you weaker.
Oh God.
And it doesn't clear until you reboot your persona.
There's no, and unless you're looking for it as well, I'm assuming there's no way to know that you've already
Oh
been hit with it.
no, you'll notice the dip in performance,
Oh,
obviously.
okay. Oh, okay.
And then you have to be like, what's going on?
So that one is nice in that it's at least like you have an inkling that something's wrong
hmm
instead of everything else where it's just like, no, yeah, they could just like
Well,
do
the
this.
the marauder and the sapper, you're both going to notice both of those.
Hmm.
The stalker is the dangerous one that will track you back to where you are
Right.
because you
Okay.
won't notice it unless you're specifically trying to find or look for it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
So to hide from the null sect in the matrix, the AI have kind of built their own place, like a safe haven in the matrix. They call it Garmonbosia.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah.
This place provides beguiled AI with a sorely needed respite from the threat of uncaring metahumans and the null sect. Unfortunately, the price of that safety is constant vigilance and ruthless secrecy.
Mm. Hmm.
Garmon Bozia may not threaten to take over the Matrix or bring the entire world closer to destruction, but it is relentless in its pursuit of outsiders who learn of it.
So it's a thing that will help protect you from null sect, but also it doesn't want you to know that it exists.
Yes, because it's all for AI.
Oh, okay. I think I missed that part in the
Yeah.
initial description.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
so it's a program specifically for AI to protect AI from
hmm
null sect.
Well, they call it a nation
Okay.
because this is their own little haven within the Matrix to
Oh, so it's a
hide.
location within the Matrix that they can go to.
hmm
Okay.
hmm hmm
Okay. I I what edition did null sect come out in? Per
Fifth
chance?
fifth edition.
When was fifth edition? Do you have like time frame? Do you happen to
Time like when it originally
like when it
dropped.
released? Yeah.
Hang on, let me open up my fifth edition core book here. 2013.
Okay. The only other time that I have ever heard the term Garmin Bogia used
Mm-hmm.
is it's actually used in Twin Peaks
Oh man.
because the Garmin Bogia is the name of the food that the denizens of the Black Lodge exchange with each other in order to get favors and power within the Black Lodge itself. So I have a feeling that whoever came up with this was a Twin Peaks fan because it's kind of similar in how it's presented, except within Twin Peaks, Garmin Boja is always presented as just being creamed corn.
mm-hmm.
So really, it's just creamed corn. But I I just think that that's cool. I've like I said, I've literally never heard that term used in anything else other than Twin Peaks before. So I am always stoked
Amazing.
to hope that that influence just is everywhere.
What a throwback show.
Oh, dude, I love me some Twin Peaks. It's for sure like top
it,
5 TV shows of all time for me.
it starts off so innocuously and then just gets fucking batshit.
Oh, I love David Lynch. I love that man so much.
You're like,
Uh,
okay, I see where this is going. Okay, okay, and then what?
yeah, yeah.
That's my experience with it.
It's you know what? That's most people's experience with it. So that is an accurate experience with it
All right,
indeed.
I'm good then.
Yep.
So
Yep.
in this instance, it
Mm,
is a safe haven for
mhm,
AIs that are hiding in the Matrix that wish to escape the Null sect. And the Null sect can also do this other unique rule that's it's about to come up as well with so the Desians of Garmonbozia don't want anyone to know they exist, right?
mhm, mhm,
Because the actual threat of their quote unquote nation is how far their reach can extend
mm,
in the
mhm,
global wireless matrix.
mm, mhm,
So the strictures of their society are not satisfied with simply removing sensitive information from the matrix to hide themselves. It takes it a step further in ensuring anything that might lead more outsiders into their borders
mhm.
are driven largely by fear and paranoia. Obviously, they don't want to be found.
Right.
They will not hesitate to erase the records and assets of people who only seem tangentially related to those who would expose them.
Interesting. Okay.
The most fanatical of their citizens are eager to discreetly engineer the deaths of their victims as well as any close contacts.
Uh-huh.
And these are AI, so you can see, are the null sect really the good guys here?
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
And this is all well, I mean, okay, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like the bad leads to more bad scenarios because the AI wouldn't need to do this in the first place if Nullsect wasn't trying to hunt them down.
Well, not only that, but also, you know, meta humanity. They're not a huge fan of AI in the
That's
sixth world,
that's
technically.
true. No, that's very true. And the
The
arcology didn't
track
help.
record, the
The
track
arcology didn't
record.
did didn't help or do anybody any favors in that regard.
Oh,
So like,
very
yeah, no.
true.
So I totally understand that, but like are there people within the are there metas within the Matrix who are actively trying to hunt AI? Like, is that a thing? Or
Mm, I'm sure there are curious enough people that are looking.
mhm.
And of course, I would have to think that a couple mega corporations have their feelers out just in case.
Yeah, that's I mean, just assume that megacorps have feelers literally everywhere at all times for everything within the sixth world. So
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
that's a safe bet type of scenario there. But so I don't know, man. Like it's kind of one of those things where it's like it exists because of nullsect, but also like I don't know. It's weird. It exists and causes AI to be more dangerous towards meta because nullsec exists, but does nullsec do more benefit removing AI that could potentially be harmful to humanity if nullsect has no interest in actually going after humanity in the first place?
Mm.
It's a strange Ouroboros situation, we're just it's just the robot snake eating its tail.
Yeah, I was gonna say, any way you look at it, it's the robot snake eating its own tail.
It sure is. Okay, sorry. Anyway,
No, that's a good question.
so I is nullsect bad guys? Eh,
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 maybe, maybe. You'll have to let us know your opinions. Is
That's
Nullsec bad?
that's very true.
Or are
Where
you on
do
the side
you
of the AIs? Are you against the AIs? I mean, there's not a great track record for AIs in the sixth world. I'll
There
say
really
that.
isn't. There's really not. There's like what one good one pretty much, and then the rest of it's all pretty bad across the board.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, honestly, in all of this, I feel the worst for technomancers because they don't have a choice. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're being hunted by nullsect for something that's completely outside of their control that they may not even want to have access
Yeah.
and ability to in the first place. So
Well,
that's
and
the one
some.
part. That's the one part where I would say nullsect is probably still the bad guy because they go after technomancers as well.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of how the AI is involved in it, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a 50-50, my guy. Like, honestly, I could see it as I could see the good and bad.
Also, some AI is probably hunting technomancers as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what we talked about with the technomancers, everybody's hunting technomancers. So, like, for
Yes.
one purpose or
Yes.
another, everybody is hunting technomancers. So, that's
Yes.
kind of just a cursed existence in the sixth world, regardless of where you're at.
With wanting to be super secretive of their super secret base that the AI has created.
Hmm.
If Shadowrunners or anybody inadvertently end up on their hit list, so to speak, due to their actions, uh, the defensive AI can take action ranging from something as innocuous as sensitive files being deleted from their comlinks to burning their sins.
Mm, that seems not good.
I mean, if you still have one, yeah, that's not good.
Well,
Uh,
yeah. Listen, for
to
the other 95% of the sixth world, easy, that does still have a sin. Yeah, that's not good.
all the way to sending assassins after them, hiring and sending assassins.
Mm. That's terrifying. They can just hire their own,
Yeah,
just hire their own
technically,
hitman and
yeah,
just send it. Yeah.
just move some funds around in the digital world, and here you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
AI can purchase anything.
Hey man, as long as the check clears, they don't ask who they don't ask who it came from as long as it cleared.
That's entirely true.
Mm-hmm.
There's other options, and this works for both the AI and for the null sect.
Oh, I did have one quick question actually, real quick,
Yes.
before we get too far away on it.
Okay.
In regards to the AI hideout,
Mm-hmm.
how do they keep nullsect out?
Uh, because they treat it like it's like a nation to them, right?
Right.
So what do you do to defend a nation? You build walls and put up defenses. So
Gotcha.
they
Okay, so
constantly are vigilant to anybody that comes in, any other AI program that comes in. I'm sure there is quite the screening process that you have to go through.
right.
Like your plane has landed and now you're going through Australian customs, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So
They're gonna find that pineapple that you're bringing into the country.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You tried to hide it exactly where you think they wouldn't have found it, but there it
Well,
is.
that's the first place they look. Yeah, no, okay, so that it's just the security. It's doing like
Mm-hmm.
just general web security, but specifically
Yeah, and
to keep nullsect out on it. Okay.
plus the AI live in the same world as the null sect, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So they would know what to look for more than what your average, decker or
True. Yeah.
technomancer would know
That's
what to look for.
right. Yeah, they would be on a way more heightened level of security.
I would honestly think that the null sect is more interested in rooting out the AI that's hiding within the matrix so that they can have complete control over it and then effectively hunt technomancers thereafter.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Take
But
out the AI first, then go after the technomancers.
so with wanting to take out the AI and the technomancers, like what is the overall goal of
That's it.
nullsect? That's it?
That's
That
all they
just
want.
huh.
They see the emerged and the mistakes of the metahuman interfaces as the problem with the matrix.
Mm,
And this is the way to root it out and make it better and safer for everybody.
It's so interesting to me that they see the AI as the mistakes because they were created by the metas, but
Mhm.
then don't also just view metas as a threat to the Matrix as well. Like
Well, they
it's
can't
so weird to me.
necessarily interact with it in the same way, and you have to understand the null sect being born inside the matrix with data has no concept of the physical world,
That's fair. So as far as they know, the users only exist at within the plane of the Matrix,
and
and
they
that's
come and
it.
go occasionally. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Whereas
See,
the
that's a way
AI
more,
and the
yeah,
technomancers are there all the time.
their persistence. I
Mhm.
see. Interesting. Okay, that is actually a way more interesting way to look at it too.
Mhm.
That's very interesting. Okay. I mean, I'm still starting to lean back more to the side of like maybe Dulcich is not so bad, man. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So what you're telling me is that Nullsect is basically just like the Windows Defender of the Matrix, right? Like it doesn't want to do any harm to
Ugh.
us personally, and it's there to make us have a better overall experience online. Like I don't
Yes.
know, man. Oh, it's starting to maybe be Team Nullsect. Like
Team Null Sect is really Windows Firewall.
yeah, that's it, man. Nullsect likes to know if you would like to give this program permission. Oh man, I wish that there was a way that I could rename Windows Firewall on my PC to
The Null
Nullsect.
Sect.
uh,
Oh boy. So, the response again to scare off some of these people, right? That both AI and the null sect can enact
mhm,
is when technomancers or your deckers skim the foundation for information, like they're skimming the dark web, right?
mhm.
They could attract the attention of the docs,
Oh,
spelled DOX.
mhm,
So when you when the docs is made aware of your existence,
mhm.
like it's a thing,
Yeah,
it activates. The docs pursues a hacker's data trail relentlessly, gathering up one new piece of data every day until atonement has been made.
what qualifies as the tone man?
So, this information is presented in trickles in various ways that are designed to specifically embarrass or harass the hacker.
Uh-huh,
The first effect is felt up to a week after the docs activates.
uh-huh,
And basically, it starts leaking the hacker's personal information
uh-huh.
to sites or
Mhm,
puts it out into the public so that it can be identified.
mhm.
After 2 weeks, the docs escalates and will start sending personal information and records out to authority figures.
Ah, okay. So initially it just tries to publicly shame you, and then it's like, what illegal shit have you done that maybe you don't want anybody else to know
And
about
not
that
only
they
does
maybe
it
do?
send it to the legal, like, Knight Errant or Lone
Mm-hmm.
Star, but it'll also send it to mega corporations.
Mm.
After 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically you basically can't log into the matrix without the grid overwatch division spotting you instantly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about God.
So after 3 weeks, whenever you log in, you're immediately identified by God, and you have to think an agent of God is watching your every move.
Mm. That's what Christianity taught me too.
I know, right? God's always watching.
Because he's a big pervert.
Mm. after 4 weeks.
That's why I gotta take a shower with a swimsuit on.
Oh
God's
yes,
always
yes.
watching them big
Except in the
perverts.
shower. Except in the shower.
Oh, okay. That's
Your private time is there.
that's Satan's time.
That's depends on how hot you like that water. Oh god. So after 4 weeks,
mhm,
your public awareness and notoriety is out there. Like somehow now
mhm,
hit pieces will start coming out on news websites about you.
mhm.
And every week after the fourth week, the public awareness and notoriety just keeps going up. You get more and more exposure after the fourth week
Mm,
with
mhm.
your name going out there and your deeds and everything about you.
And things that you probably don't want to be put out there into the public.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair and also brutal.
Yes. So the only way to get rid of or appease the docs
hmm
is to perform an act of atonement known as being owned.
Being owned. Oh my god, what do you have to 1v1 him on Rust or something? Jesus,
You
dude.
would lose. You would lose every time.
You would lose for sure. Like you're gonna lose for sure. But
So
uh-huh.
if a hacker seeks to be rid of the docs, the hacker
Uh-huh.
must concede that the docs has quote owned them.
Uh-huh. They sure have. Oh, okay.
So this analogy is weird. To do so is tantamount to a wolf revealing its belly to the alpha pack member.
That's not a weird analogy. That's an amazing analogy. Okay. So,
So the hacker has to go back to the foundation where they originally had skimmed the information
uh
that has caused the attention of the docs.
okay, that's what I was wondering. It's like how does the docs know
They
that
must
you've
they must
atoned? But
then
okay.
they must then perform a show of obsolence to the docs. You have to show obedience to the docs. Of I'm so
Mhm.
sorry.
Mhm.
This can vary drastically, right?
Mhm.
Um, but usually you're encouraged to involve self-deprecating or insulting behavior.
Mhm.
I am so loath, you are te greatest.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have been Ponzord.
Yes, indeed. Yep. All my base are
Oh,
belong to you. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Once the hacker has performed the act that embarrasses them,
Mhm.
they can consider that the deed is done and the docs has been satisfied.
Mhm.
You'll usually recognize that you have done the atonement in the proper way, where less and less of your information will be out there or will be removed or scrubbed clean from where it originally was.
I was kind of hoping that you'd know because you would just get like an email message from the docs and it just says wrecked inside the email message, and then you're like, oh, thank God, it's finally over.
You know what? It probably does.
that's that's my headcanon of how you know that your atonement has been successful.
Yeah, the digital records of the doc's behavior disappears.
The docs has pressed F. They have paid respect. You may now continue your existence.
Individuals may remember the information, but any digital traces are gone. So any information that
Mm.
the docs had originally sent out to these places will be erased.
The files are scrubbed, but
Yeah,
but what you saw in the files
what
you'll
any
remember.
person, yeah, what any person may have read from them, they can remember. But
Uh
to prove it, the files are no longer there.
Gotcha.
Obviously, depending on how long you wait to try to appease the docs, this could have negative repercussions to your social and runner life, in that your contacts could still burn you and you'd have to
Mhm.
beg and plead for them to come back.
Mhm. Now,
The worst part is that if you make it to the fourth week where you start getting publicly
yeah.
embarrassed, yeah, that can't go away.
Well, so my question was going to be, is the information that's released by the docs in some way encrypted to prevent people from just making copies of that information once it's out there? or is it just out there and anybody that sees it could just be like, "Oh, that seems like useful blackmail material," and just yoink it? Like,
So, fun fact about
uh-huh.
the Sixth World wireless matrix
Okay.
and the way that it works
Mm-hmm.
is that it is a mesh integrated network. So that means every device that runs on every device that you own is technically connected and creates a mesh network around you
Mm-hmm.
known as your personal data network, right?
Okay.
That's connected to the matrix. So even if you made a copy onto your comlink of that data, your
Mm-hmm.
comlink is still technically connected to your personal network, which is connected to the matrix. They could still scrub it.
Gotcha. So once
Unless
that
you print it
information is,
out physically,
yeah,
there is no way you can digitally hold on to the information.
gotcha. Okay. That's what I was trying to check.
Yes. Nullsect or the AI program that runs the docs will have it digitally removed, digitally scrubbed.
Gotcha.
That is the power of the docs.
Fair, man. That's okay. So, in regards to the appeasement as well for the docs, like, what if they made like a really convincing twit longer and just posted that on Twitter and said that they were sorry? Does that appease the, like, how many YouTube apology videos have been made for doxes specifically in the sixth world is what I wanted to know.
Well, you have to go to the site of the foundation where you originally skimmed your data and perform your matrix ritual there. So
Oh, that's
no
fair.
one's going to
So yeah,
notice other than
yeah,
the docs
yeah.
that
The
you are
pub there
appeasing it.
there's not really a public apology in this
No.
instance. It's just to the entity itself. Okay, well
Yes.
that's,
Yes.
I just like to imagine that there is somebody out there that just had like a playlist of hours of just YouTube apology videos of people apologizing to docs programs.
You don't know that it's over
Uh,
until you get the email that just says leet hacksaw lol 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 lol
exactly
lol for
right.
like 2 pages.
Exactly. Okay, I get you. Well, that's fair.
Yes, so that is one of the ways that they can handle or deal with hackers. That is
Mm-hmm.
the non-lethal route.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it could potentially be lethal if they let it go for so long, and
Yeah,
this
yeah,
public information is out there for mega corporations and everything. But
yeah, right. That is non-lethal with big finger quotes on that one.
yes, very large
Non
finger quotes.
non-lethal in the sense that they didn't pull the gun. They didn't pull the trigger themselves directly, however.
Yes, yes, yes.
What else happens is outside of the Dox's control.
Yes, the docs will start to publicly shame you. And that's when you should definitely go, oh, I need to take care of this.
Hmm.
But then I guess that could also be the hard part of where do you have to go back, or do you remember where you were when you possibly angered him or angered them, I should say.
Well, I mean, how far after would a dox activate? Because I would
It's
have to
one
imagine
week.
that if, oh, it's
One
1 week.
week.
Okay, so
It collects information about you for 1 week before it launches its attack.
so yeah, being a hacker, then yeah, that's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that could be any number,
Mm-hmm.
literally any number of locations. Uh,
That's a lot to try and think back to.
yeah, that would be funny to see somebody with like a checklist of all these places that they're going, and they just start like apologizing to the sky, and they're like, "Did it work? Did that do it?
I didn't get an email notification. Drats!
No, do wait, check the spam. It's not in the spam. All right, go to the next one."
I would think that they would override your spam filter
You
so that
would
you got
hope,
it
but like
directly.
that would be the funniest. Is like somebody gets like the email and it goes to their spam folder, but they never see it, so they're just constantly like, "Did I beat it? Did I beat the system? What's happening? Are they still coming after me?" uh,
That's so true. One of the examples it gives for someone experiencing the docks, like a Shadowrunner,
mhm, mhm,
is they go into a stuffer shack to make an order for something,
mhm.
like for food or something like that. and then the receipt tape printer just starts printing their name and where they live.
Oh, and like
And
their sin and like all
on a
the
constant loop, it just starts
oh
printing.
no. Oh man. I went to a gas station one time and it was like 1 in the morning
Mm.
and I went to go I put in and I actually it was one of the few times that I needed a receipt. And so I hit the print receipt button and it started printing and then it just kept going and it just kept going and it was literally like dollar sign ampersand at sign forward slash like it was
Oh
like
boy.
just characters like 32 a row like continuously and this ended up printing out like a foot and a half long sheet of paper and I was literally just standing there watching it as it was happening and I was like, guys, did I just find the glitch in the matrix? Like did I just what's happening right now? I just hit yes on print receipt and suddenly I'm getting like the god code is coming out of this gas station right now at 1 in the morning.
So here's this example that's given.
Mhm.
I'll read it to you for the docs.
Mhm.
You'll know it's a docs attack when you're attacked day and night with dreck more dire than just black ice.
Mm.
Ever had a disturbing love letter read to you in a modulated voice while your comlink is ringing?
Oh god.
You chose a chummer to call, and suddenly in your ears, it will be beautiful when your flesh is beside my.
Oh,
Then it's your medic on the other end. Sup, homie?
oh my god. That's terrifying.
The name you were born with printed 50 times on the end of your stuffer shack receipt,
Mhm.
which the computer forces them to print,
Right.
like with paper.
Man, what a waste of like I
Ream,
imagine
yeah.
you get charged extra for that, right? Like Stuffer Shack's gonna charge you like another
Probably.
$5 for another
This
5 new yen for new paper on that one.
this individual, I tried deleting the pay data, but even that didn't stop it. The worst thing is that the docs just ignores not only the rules of the matrix, but the rules of reality as well.
It's true. That's
Trying
very fair.
trying to lose it, I dug out an old terminal from the 2030s running software from a corp that doesn't exist anymore with a 2D screen. Once I got it connected to the matrix, the second I logged in, everything went blank and I woke up in an ultraviolet host. That's frightening.
Jesus, that's terrifying.
They said, I don't know which
Uh,
one, where it was, or how I even got there, but it was ultraviolet and I was there without any connection at all.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't like the docs. That's I mean, like I should say like yes and no, I guess, because like, unless you're a hacker, you really don't have anything to be afraid of when it comes to that, it seems
Hmm.
like, because it's only a countermeasure program, but that's just a terrifying concept of just like that type of just like, yeah, anything you do anywhere you go, literally this program is just like, hey man,
Yeah.
just checking in, buddy, seeing how it's going.
Suddenly you're wondering why you're getting all of these strange messages from farmers only.
Oh man.
When did I set up the account Big Daddy Haas?
We're we're trying to reach you about your deck's extended warranty.
Oh god. You automatically click yes to every warranty.
I don't I don't even know how I signed up for all of these newsletters and it won't let me unsubscribe. Oh man.
Oh god. Yeah. That's how the docs works.
It's fair.
Mm. I mean, I don't know. I think I'd rather experience that with the attempt to be able to appease it as opposed to having to look over my shoulder for assassins every single day.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the it's one of those things where like the first week of it is kind of novel and then it's just escalating into terror from there. Like then it just gets really bad. But like the first week of it sounds like it would just be like kind of weird and entertaining
And
in
you
some way,
thinking that
but
somebody is messing with you, like one of your friends or
right,
something.
yeah, yeah, like maybe you're just getting hacked and people are messing with you, and then it gets really bad. Like,
Then suddenly there are Lone Star officers at your place with a warrant.
mm-hmm,
You're like,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, let me log on to the Matrix and see if I can find any information about why Lone Star's here. Oh no, this was a terrible idea. I shouldn't be here.
I have made an error. This isn't where I parked my car.
This isn't where I parked my car. Exactly.
Oh
Uh,
man. If you get that reference, I'm super proud of our
hey,
listeners if they
it's
do.
me scoozy, man.
Miss Goosey. Miss
Me
Goosey.
scoozy. I use that all the time, by the way. I did. This is where I parked my car.
Oh
I
yeah.
love using that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yep. Yep.
Such an obscure movie.
I watch it at least once a year.
Uh,
I won't tell you on what day I watch it, but I'm pretty sure you can
hmm,
use your imagination
I'm
and figure it
I'm
out.
pretty sure I can. Pretty sure I know which one.
Usually also the same day that I watch Grandma's Boy.
Mm,
I don't know if there's a correlation there, but
there, one might say that there is, but Grandma's Boy also a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it,
hmm
go watch it. Uh, but that's what I got for you on the null sect and the AI hiding out in the Matrix and
hmm
how to handle the docs.
it's appeasement is how you handle the dogs.
Yes, anybody out there, if you're experiencing the docs, better go make them happy.
Yeah, you better go to your local genius bar and start apologizing and appeasing.
Do your best, appease the docs.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, nullsec again, like it's really weird because like first and foremost, having some type of sentient existence within the sixth world that is not just overtly and outright malicious towards humanity is like a weird perspective. Is like, it's kind of a new concept at this point because it feels like everything else is just out to hate meta humanity in some way, shape, or form. So like the fact that it kind of only cares about AI, and again, like with technos, like that's just unfortunate, but like it really just kind of feels like everything hates technos in the sixth world. Like as much as I don't want it to be the case,
Mm.
it just kind of seems like everything is out to get them regardless. So like that's a big yikes just across the board, man. There's not much that I think is specific to nullsect against that one.
Mm.
But all of that being said, like I don't really think that nullsect is that bad, all things considered. Like I don't what's your take on it? Easy. I'm interested because like
Um,
they don't
so
really seem like overtly evil or bad to me, but
well, it just makes me wonder, right? Like
mm,
if they achieve their goal, which
mhm,
yikes.
mhm,
If they achieve their goal of removing the AI
mhm,
and technomancers,
mhm.
how long before they realize that they don't want humanity in the Matrix as well?
Well, again, at that point, I feel like that would have to tie into whether or not there's some way for them to achieve consciousness outside of the Matrix. Because
Mm.
if they so like
Or if they
to
even
your
want that?
right, but like yes, exactly. If they would want that, but also like to your point of like when we were talking about it earlier, the reason that they would have to assumedly target AI and technomancers is because they are a constant presence at all times, always online, always on the matrix with them.
Mm-hmm.
But metas for the most part, like you said, are in and out,
Mm-hmm.
they'll log in, they'll do whatever they're doing on the matrix, and they'll log out, go back, do whatever they do in the real world. So like with that being the case, would it ever necessarily turn into a case where they would view that type of existence as a threat to their own existence when there's not consistency within their plane of reality,
Mm.
if that makes sense?
No, that does. I follow that. That makes
Mm.
sense.
So, I mean, with that being the case and being said, I don't know that there would ever necessarily be a case outside of them realizing the external planes of existence from the Matrix itself to ever really have a reason to view meta users as a threat to the Matrix
Hmm.
because they don't exist as a constant at all times within that reality. They're in and out.
That's true.
So that would be my perspective on it. But knowing how the sixth world goes, they'll turn evil and try to kill all of humanity at some point for some reason, I'm sure. So, like, that's just a ticking clock in terms of how Shadowrun tends to work out in most instances, anyway. But if not, I don't see why they would ever have reason to perceive humanity as a threat to them
Hmm.
in the same way that AI or technos
Technomancers.
would be as constant presences.
That's true. That is true. Well, everybody else, listeners, we would like to hear your take on what you think. Are you pro AI? Are you pro Technomancer? Or do you agree with the ideals of the Null sect that the Matrix should be free of those Desians that have those unique powers that operate within the Matrix?
Yeah, those filthy hobbitses.
Filthy hobbitses. We want it. Oh, man. Well, if you want to answer those questions for us, and we are always welcoming of any questions that our listeners have, the best way to deliver those questions would be to come on over and join our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/critical_hits, and for just 5 new yen a month, you can help us keep the lights on. You can be part of Worm Talk. You can get a look behind the scenes for all of the upcoming sinless stuff that we are working on with our art projects and anything else that is going to be going on in the background. You get to interact with us via our Discord, and you can come hang out and talk Sixth World lore with us. Give us your insights. Let us know what you think or what you would like to see or hear about more in the Sixth World.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
if
if you don't subscribe, then you may end up having to subscribe as appeasement to the docs that may or may not go after you
we may
and
know
your
the
personal
docs
information.
personally,
Mm-hmm.
we have the docs on speed dial, is what I'm saying.
We may be on a first name basis with the docs. It's actually Douglas Ox is his full name. And so
You don't anger the Doug.
you do not anger the ox, my friend, because then you get the horns.
That is how it works.
And you don't want that.
But if you'd like to spread us around the matrix and the internet, then go ahead, and if you're listening on Spotify or any of the other podcast supplying places, give us a like. And if you're listening on the old YouTubes, give us a like and a subscribe, please. It would help us out greatly. And for a bonus for all of you people that happen to be looking at this on YouTube, if you look down in the description of the episode, there should be a link for our affiliate Drive Through RPG, where you can get all kinds of great RPG supplements or look into some games that you may never have heard of before. But if you're going to grab something from there, go ahead and use our affiliate link. We would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, that's all I've got for you this evening. Austin, do you have any parting thoughts?
Just remember dark web, not even once. Friends don't let friends log into the dark web, so stay clear and stay safe, my friends.
Stay clear, stay safe. We won't even talk about how you get there. You can go do that on your own, but don't
You
do that.
can't. Remember, Easy, we talked about that. You can't get there. There's no way, it's impossible. Forget that it
Ah!
exists.
Forget it. I didn't say anything. I am appeasing the docs by bowing my head deeply and banging it on the desk.
Yeah, prostrate. Thank you.
There we
Appreciate
go.
it.
Docs be appeased. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with us. I hope you have enjoyed this dive into the deepness that is the underbelly of the Matrix and the things that happen to lurk down there. But as always, we we'll catch you guys on the next one.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. has granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.